So as you know, the topics discussed yesterday were we introduced Python and then we went on explaining what are variables in Python, small introduction to data types in Python, then typecasting, operators and conversions in Python. So today we will be focusing on all the data types and data structures in Python in detail. We won't be doing live coding, but we have codes written, so we will be running them and we will be explaining them. And while teaching, we will be doing some changes and we will explain it to you. So these sessions are not for like you have to code with us, but you can understand the real crux behind the Python programming and various data structures, and then you can practice on HackerRank or any other platform. And we will also be providing all the codes and resources on the drive. So in today's session, we will be discussing strings, lists. So list in Python are basically the arrays in C programming, tuples, sets, dictionary in Python, then arrays which are a different type of array, not the list array, then NumPy and the regex. So Python has very, I can say, intuitive type of data structures which are easy to implement and which save your time as well, so using Python, and they are very easy to write also. So we will be explaining all the data structures in detail. So now I give control to Arnav Mankad, who is tech head of Synergy, and he will be explaining few of the data structures. And then Umang Thadani, who took your session yesterday, again he will be explaining another set of data structures to you. So now to Arnav.
Okay, Mir. So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So let's begin with our today's journey. So yesterday we got an introduction to the Python and we saw some basic syntax. So today we will be moving on to the data types in Python. Okay. So the first of all is strings. Strings are basically textual data. It can be words, sentences, paragraphs. It can be anything, right? And it is very important to cater to such kind of data. So there are three ways to represent string in Python. Basically, we can use single quotes, we can use double quotes, and the last way is using three times single quotes or double quotes. So basically, what the difference is, when we use single quotes, we can use double quotes inside it, and if you use single quotes it will be acting as an endpoint for the string, so it will give us an error. We'll be looking up about it in the code later. And why do we require the triple quoted strings? So basically triple quoted strings allow us multi-line strings in the code. Okay, so we will look about it also. And there is one thing more to note, that in Python we have strings only, we don't have characters. Okay, so in many other languages, if you know some other languages, there are characters as well as strings. So in Python, characters and strings both are same. Okay, so what we have here is something we will look. It is basically referencing to a specific index of the string, and slicing. We will be looking into it in some time. Okay, so these are the string methods, which some of the string methods which are available in Python, because there are a lot of complex things in Python which you don't need to know right now in the beginners level. Okay, so let us. Okay, so we over here have our notebook of Python. Okay, so Python provides us Jupyter notebooks, and this is Google Colab. Google Colab is like Jupyter notebooks, but it uses the Google's backend. Okay, so
Sorry to
basically
interrupt,
this is
Arnav.
how.
As we had sent the installation guide and various code editors. I would like to just take 2 minutes and explain about Google Colab. So
Yeah.
Google Colab is nothing but it is a online, like you can code here. You can, like, if you connect with Google Drive, you it can act as your PC terminal. So you can perform all the operations using Google Colab what you perform in Linux or Windows terminal, and your drive will act as a memory to this Colab. So it is very useful resource, and generally people who go into MLDL, they preferably use Colab because it provides you with 12 GB of RAM. Along with that, it also has GPU support. So people who really want to um, like who want to train very large models, or even if you want to just work on a terminal or any simple Python codes, you can work here very easily. It is a very helpful resource, and you can explore through Google Colab in future. We will be sharing the Jupyter notebook files, so you can upload on your drive and you can open in Google Colab and you can explore.
I guess we were here, right? So this particular operation which you are seeing, it is called indexing. But what we basically do in indexing is we extract a substring, or either, or we can also extract the character. For example, over here we have name equals to YouTube. Okay, so if we write name and then index it from the starting index 1 to the end index 4, so the indexing in string starts from 0. So Y is at index 0. O is at index 1. So it will start from the index 1, that is O. It will go up till index 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. But it won't output that character which is present at index 4. It will reach until index number 3. So if you mention 1 to 4, it will print all the characters which are present at index 1, 2, and 3. So the start index and one position before the end index is what gets printed. So when I say 1 is to 4, out is what gets printed. Now, if I don't mention the second parameter, that is the second index over it, that is end index. So it will print the entire string starting from the first index. So over here, the first index which I have mentioned is 1. So it will start from O and print the remaining string. So what I get is OU and TUBE. Third thing, can everyone please mute their microphones?
Okay, so Umang, you can just present the Chrome window, I guess. Then this will be minimized.
Uh, uh, Yeah, so what I was talking, yeah, this third statement over here. So over here, I have not written the starting index. So what it will do is it will print the entire string right from the very first character in that particular string. So over here, it starts from Y and goes until third index. I have mentioned 4, but it stops one index before only. So it will print Y, O, U, and T. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. So this is how it works. So it starts from the zeroth index, that is Y, and then it prints 4 characters. Now the index varies from 0 to n as we spoke. So this is an example of a for loop which we'll be looking in our next session. So I'll just explain the basic functionality of this particular loop for I in range and length of name. So the length of this particular variable, that is name, it consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters. So I will range. I is going to take values right from 0 to 7. So as I print name of I, so this is what I was talking about. We can also get characters using indexes. So when I say name of I, so first of all, I will take the value 0. So name 0. So the character at index 0 is Y. So it will print Y. Then it will take the value 1. So name and the character at position number 1 is O. So it will print like that. So this is one proof that in strings, when we talk about indexing, it indexes right from 0. Okay. Now, strings are immutable. You cannot change the value of a character in the string. Now, yesterday only I explained what are immutable and mutable types. So, mutable types are those which you can modify, and immutable types are those which you cannot modify. That is, once you have declared that particular data type, you have declared that particular variable, then you cannot modify that. Uh, value. So over here, I've tried to change this particular string, that is name. So I am changing character starting from index 0 and ending at index 3. So that is the index 0, 1, and 2. So what I'm basically doing is trying to replace you with my, but this gives an error because this is not possible as strings are immutable. Next, coming to some of the operations on strings and some of the properties of the string. So length, we can get the length of the string using this length function. What we basically do is length and give this string as the parameter, and what we get is the length of the string. The same thing which we have used in this particular for loop, when we wanted to range I from 0 to the entire length of the string. So yeah, this is so the next thing is string concatenation. Now, uh, one of the ways to for concatenation meaning adding up two strings. For example, if I have one string that is my first name and another string that is my second name, so I will basically make use of string concatenation and add my first name and second name, and that will give me my full name. So this is that one example over here. So what I'm doing over here is just look at this str. So this str string, this consists of synergy. And what it will do is this particular statement will do, it will take the character E and add all these characters in this particular variable starting from index 2. So this is index 0, index 1, index 2. So right from N to Y, it will take the entire string and then it will prepend it with E because we are doing E plus string. So this will give us the output as ENERGY. So similarly, we can also append. I'll show you this example. So if I say str2 plus E, you can use single quotes, double quotes, that's your choice. So just a second. I don't know what's the
Umang, you need to run from start.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
So as you can see, this is Google Collab. So uh, the runtimes get reconnected. So when you reconnect, automatically you have to run from the start. So all your the cache data is lost. All your variables are lost. So you just have to keep that thing in mind when you work with Collab.
Yeah, so that is one problem with Colab. So over here you can see I have this str variable. I'm taking all the characters right from index to NERGY, and then I'm appending E. We can either add a character before that particular string or after that particular. That's completely your choice, and this won't lead to any kind of errors. Similarly, we can actually add another string, not only characters, we can add the entire string, for example, str, which consists of synergy, and I can add community over here. So the result will be synergy community. And it is not necessary that I would need to add a variable with a constant. I can also add two constants over here. So even that would produce the correct output. Also, we can add two variables. And so how that will work, for example, if string one is hello and string two is world. So if I say string one plus string two, so yeah, as you can see, the output comes out as hello world. So we can also add two variables. We can add two constants. We can add a variable and a constant. We can add constants and constant. That's completely on you. Next, what we have is this particular thing, that multiplication in string. So when I say 2 into AB, so that would print AB two times. So I can take literally any string and I need not write that string again and again. And I also need not, have a loop so that it can print that string as many times. All you need to do is this carry out this multiplication and this will do the work for you. Now, let's coming on to the quotation marks, which often create errors unknowingly in your program. So this is something which you need to look on very carefully. So over here, look at this particular string, that is Aditya's laptop. Now look at this. We know that we can write strings using single quotes. We can write strings using double quotes. We can also write multi-line strings using three single quotes and three double quotes. So what I'm doing, I'm using single quotes over here. But the problem is over here, I want this particular single quote to act as an apostrophe. So Aditya's laptop, that is what I want to convey. But Python interprets this particular thing as a single quote, that is the end of the string. So this is the reason I am getting this particular error, because over here, this thing, S and laptop, Python doesn't know what to do with this. So this is one error causing. So to tackle to this problem, we have a few solutions. One of the solution is to actually use backslash character. Now backslash, when we add a backslash, it tells Python that the character following backslash is going to be a special character. So when I say backslash and then I say single quotes, so it will print that particular character as it is. It won't treat that character as something that is really special, like the start or end of the string. This backslash will tell the Python interpreter that treat this particular character as it is, as a raw character. So yeah, this is how we do it. Next way is we can I'll show you. So now I want to print a single quote in my string. So what I can do, another way is to enclose the string in double quotes. So even this will do the work. So if I run this, yeah, so you can see we still get the output. So there are several ways to tackle this particular situation. One of which is to add this backslash and then write your single quote, so that will treat the character as it is, or else you can either write the entire string in double quotes. The same goes true for double quotes as well. For example, if you want to print double quotes somewhere in the sentence and you have enclosed the entire string in the double quotes, so what you can basically do is add this backslash character, or you can enclose the entire string with single quotes. So that will solve the problem. Now, next thing, how to print a raw string. Now, what is a raw string? Raw string is basically when you have an entire string. So you're telling the Python interpreter that there are no special characters regardless of anything. So this R denotes the raw string. So what it will do is it will take the entire string and print it as it is. Here I mentioned that once we mention backslash, it will treat this particular character that is following backslash as a special character. But look, backslash D, it is not treating D as some special character. So what it will do, it will print the entire string as it is. The backslash over here will not denote any kind of special character. So this is one way. This is a way to print a raw string. That is to mention R, and that will solve the problem. Now let us have a look at some of the common string methods. So I've initialized one string, that is Python programming. And first of all, what I'm trying to do is find the length of the string, which we have seen before. So the length of the string, what I basically do is length and then pass course as a parameter, which is the name of the variable, and it will print the length of the string as 18. Next, what we do is course into 3. So as I said before, it will print this value of course 3 times. So it prints Python programming, Python programming, Python programming. So these are some of the basic operations which we just saw. Next is find method and index method. Now the task of both these methods is to actually find the index at which a particular string occurs. So consider this particular variable, that is course, which whose value is Python programming. Now I want to search at what index do we have this particular substring, that is program. So I have two methods to find that substring, one of which is to use the find method, and the second one is to use the index method. So just Yeah. So both these methods will yield the same output. So even in the when we use find method, it will we will get the output as 7. And even if we use the index method, we will get the output as 7, because 7 is the index starting from which we have this program substring. This So yeah, they will produce the same output. So what is the difference basically? So the difference is that if we use a find method and suppose that substring is not present in the main string, so find method will just return -1 and that's it. It will not have any issues with your program. But in case we use the index method to find that particular string, substring, which is not present in the actual string, so what index with method will do, it will produce an error. As you can see, in the first case, when I have used the find method, since boring is not a part of Python programming, which is also true since Python is not boring. So as you can see, boring, when I use find method, it will give the result as -1. But when I use index method, it will lead to an error. As I said, Python is interpreted, so this will get executed as it is, and it will not interrupt the flow of program. This particular error will not interrupt the flow of your program, and only this part will lead to an error. So yeah, so if you're not sure whether your substring is present in this main string or not, so go with find method, else go with the index method. Next, what we have over here is the count method, which basically counts the number of occurrences of a string, of a substring, of a character in the main string. So over here, I have the main string as a story by Abby Long, and I have the substring as by. So what I do is string dot count substring. Substring is by, and this is my main string. So what this method will do is count the occurrence of this substring by in the main string. Over here, I can find two occurrences, by and one in every. So yeah, so the output which I get is exactly 2. Next methods which we have over here is upper and lower. What upper and lower basically do is they convert the string which is given to it as its parameter as upper, as the entire string as uppercase or entire string as lowercase. So over here, let's consider this example x equal to hello world. So when I say caps equal to x dot upper and lows equals to x dot lower. So what caps will store is the uppercased version of this particular string. So when I print this thing caps, it will give the output as hello world. And then when I print lows, which actually takes the values from here, x dot lower. So this will convert the entire string x into lowercase, and we get this output as lowercase hello world. Now, when I say y equal to hello world, so this will also do the same thing. What is new in this example is that in this x example, we didn't had any special characters like comma or exclamation mark or something like that. But over here in this example, that is in y, we do have a comma and an exclamation mark. What Python will do is ignore this comma and exclamation mark. It will not do anything to these two special characters, and it will convert the remaining string to the required case. So when I say caps y, it will store the value of y dot upper. What it will do is ignore the comma, ignore the exclamation mark, take the entire string and convert it into uppercase and store it in caps y. The same thing happens in case of lows y also. It will convert the entire string into lowercase, ignoring comma and the exclamation mark. So when I print those two, and this is what I get the output. Now there is one thing which I wanted to tell you. There are some methods which are you can say constructive, and there are some methods which are destructive. Sorry, indestructive and destructive functions. So let's have a look at this particular example. Even though I said x dot upper, even though I said y dot upper, x dot lower, y dot lower, it will not alter the original string. See, look at it, the last two lines. When I say print x, the x is still the same with the first character capital and the first character of this word world. That is capital. Even the second string, that is y, this remains as it is. So this particular method, that x dot upper or y dot upper, x dot lower, this upper and lower methods, these are indestructive, so that will not alter the original strings which you are considering. So that will remain as it is. All it will do is return a string that consists of this case you have mentioned. For example, over here, when I say x dot upper, it will not alter x. It will return a string with all letters in x capitalized. So this is what I get in the caps variable. This and the same thing holds true for lows in caps Y and caps low. So yeah, next method which we have is replace. What replace basically does, as the name suggests, it replaces a string, a substring with another substring. So let's have a look at this particular example. So it says state equals to this piece of code won't work, but we know this is going to work. So we replace won't with will. So the first parameter is the substring which you want to replace, and the second parameter is going to be the substring which you want to replace with. So yeah, this is what I get. So when I say print state, and this is what I get the output. Just a second. So this is the output. This piece of code will work. This is the output for this statement. Okay. Now what I do is, now I have this particular thing that is won't already replaced with will. So when I again say state equals to state dot replace will, so now the state which I have, again you can see this, just a second. So now you can see that even though won't is not currently present in state, it will not lead to any error. If it does not find won't in the string, it will not lead to any error. It will just leave the string as it is. So when we again print state, that this is what we get. This piece of code will work. So yeah, this is how it works. Again, we can replace substring that does not exist, so that won't lead to any errors. Again, we can replace a substring multiple times as well. For example, over here I have this piece of code won't work. So I have two W's and I want to replace W with V two times. So even this will work. We can replace it multiple times. Or if you want to replace it only once, only the first occurrence of that substring, you can do the same by mentioning the number of occurrences which you want to change. That is over here I mentioned one, so it will only change the first occurrence of that substring. Next method which we have is the strip method. Strip method, what it basically does is it removes the white spaces, that is extra spaces, towards the left and right side of the string. So over here, this string S, it has too many white spaces towards its left and its right. So what S dot strip will do, it will remove the white spaces from the left and right. Again, one thing to note, S dot strip is a non-destructive function. Why? Because when I say print S, this will again print the string as it was, including the white spaces. So it will not alter the original string. It will only produce a new string with no white spaces towards the left and towards its right. Also, one thing to note, these white spaces which are in the middle of the string, that won't get altered using this strip method. So yeah, that's the strip method. And yeah. Next we have is format. Format, this particular method is, you can say it is mostly used in print statements. That is when we want to display some kind of output, including some variables. For example, there is a variable called age and there is a variable called name, and I want to display an entire sentence. For example, I am, and then my name, and then my age is, and then my age. So in that case, we don't really use that plus operator which we saw before. So because that is a kind of a tedious job to do, but this particular thing that makes the job easier, that is the format method. What we do is, we have these three variables over here: community, that is synergy, course is Python programming, and duration is 3. So over here I have this description. One thing which we need to take care of is that we need to specify curly braces at places we want to insert variables. So over here, I want to insert curly braces at these three places, this, and then I want to insert the course name over here, that is Python programming. So it should be this Python programming course is conducted by. Then I again have these curly braces where I want to insert the name of the community, that is Synergy. So this Python programming course is conducted by Synergy community. Its duration is, and then I again have these curly braces where I want to insert duration. So duration is 3, so it should be its duration is 3 weeks. So this is what I want description variable to hold. So what I do is I take this entire string, mention the curly braces where I need them, dot format, and then mention these parameters in the same order which we want to insert in these curly braces. First of all, I want to mention course, so I will write down course. Then I want to mention community, so the name of the community is Synergy, and then I want to mention duration over here. So this is the order in which we do it. And once we have this string variable set up, we just print that description, and this is what gets printed. This Python programming course is conducted by Synergy community. Its duration is 3 weeks. So this was just a brief introduction to what strings are in Python, and you can definitely explore more about strings with the documents we'll be sharing with you. And you can also refer to the official Python documentation to get a deep insight into how these particular string methods actually work under the hood.